How the Medici family transformed banking and sparked the Renaissance. What if I told you that the family who paid for Michelangelo's David and Leonardo's genius never held political office? The Medici weren't kings. They were bankers from Florence. Yet by the 1400s, they controlled more power than most European monarchs without ever wearing a crown. But here's the mystery. The Medici Bank collapsed. The family was exiled. Their fortune vanished. So how did a failed banking dynasty change the world forever? And what secret did they discover about power that modern billionaires are still copying? What happened in Florence 600 years ago is happening again right now. And if you understand the pattern, you'll never see money, power, or legacy the same way again. This is Coins and Kings. Let's follow the money. The problem. Florence, 1397. Europe has a massive problem that's strangling commerce and crippling the Catholic Church. The Pope in Rome collects money from across Europe, tithes from England, donations from France, payments from across the continent. But how do you move gold from London to Rome without it being stolen by bandits? Ship it across the Mediterranean and pray pirates don't sink your vessel? The logistics are a nightmare. The costs are astronomical. And the risks? Deadly? Enter Giovanni de Medici, a modest wool trader with a radical idea. Giovanni realizes something no one else has. You don't need to move the gold at all. In 1397, he opens a bank in Florence and invents correspondent banking, a system so revolutionary it would transform European finance forever. Here's how it works. A bishop in London deposits gold with Giovanni's agent. The agent writes a letter. Giovanni's bank in Rome receives that letter and pays the Pope from their Roman vault. No gold crosses borders. Just information, just trust, just paper. This is the birth of international money transfers, the ancestor of wire transfers and modern banking. But Giovanni does something else brilliant. While other people's money sits in his vaults, he lends it out at interest. He's making money off money that isn't even his. By 1420, the Medici Bank has branches in Rome, Venice, Geneva, Bruges, and London. They're the Vatican's official bankers. They're financing international trade. Giovanni dies in 1429 as the richest man in Florence. He leaves his son Cosimo one crucial warning: stay out of politics. Cosimo ignores him completely. The rise, 1433. Florence's aristocratic families have had enough. The Albizzi clan arrests Cosimo de Medici and exiles him from the city. They think they've won. They're catastrophically wrong. Cosimo takes his bank to Venice. And suddenly, Florence realizes what just happened. Their entire economy just left. The Medici Bank finances half the trade in the city. Merchants can't get loans. Workers lose jobs. The economy collapses. 1 year later, Florence begs Cosimo to return. The Albizzi are exiled instead. And when Cosimo walks back through the city gates, he's learned the most important lesson of his life. Political power flows from economic power. Control the money, and you control everything. But here's Cosimo's genius. He never takes an official title. He rules through loans, patronage, and influence. Need money for your palazzo? Medici Bank will lend it with terms that ensure loyalty. Want to win an election? The Medici might support you if you support their interests. Within a decade, Florence is a Medici city in everything but name. But Cosimo does something no banker had ever done before. He starts turning money into culture. Cosimo commissions Brunelleschi to build the dome of Florence Cathedral. He pays Donatello to sculpt. He funds scholars to translate ancient Greek texts. And everyone thinks he's insane. Why is a banker spending fortunes on art? Because Cosimo understands something revolutionary. In a republic where you can't legally be king, culture is how you build a dynasty. Art is propaganda. Architecture is power. By funding artists and scholars, Cosimo makes Florence the cultural capital of Europe. Talent floods the city. Innovation explodes. All of it orbits around Medici money. Meanwhile, the bank innovates rapidly. They perfect double-entry bookkeeping. They create the first true holding company structure, 11 independent branches across Europe reporting to Florence. They pioneer bills of exchange and international credit. They're not just lending money. They're inventing modern corporate finance while funding the Renaissance. By 1450, the Medici Bank is the largest financial institution in Europe. The breaking point, 1464. Cosimo dies. His grandson Lorenzo, history calls him the Magnificent. He inherits the bank and takes the cultural project to insane new heights. Lorenzo commissions Botticelli's Birth of Venus. He gives teenage Michelangelo a room in the Medici Palace. He brings Leonardo da Vinci to Florence. But there's a fatal problem. Lorenzo is better at spending money than making it. The Medici Bank has grown too large. Branches in London and Bruges are making bad loans. The Vatican is late on payments. And Lorenzo is too busy writing poetry to notice the ledgers bleeding red. In 1478, rivals try to assassinate Lorenzo during Easter Mass. They kill his brother Giuliano, but Lorenzo escapes. He responds with brutal purges. But the bank continues weakening. By 1494, 2 years after Lorenzo's death, the Medici Bank collapses completely. French armies invade. The Medici are exiled. The family that ruled Florence for 60 years is destroyed. The bank that revolutionized European finance is gone. But something survived. Something far more powerful than money. The pattern that repeats. Here's where it gets chilling. Look at what's happening right now. Tech billionaires funding Mars colonies and AI research. Hedge fund managers opening museums. Crypto founders building utopian cities. They're following the exact Medici playbook, using financial power to fund cultural transformation and cement legacy. The Medici prove something every modern billionaire understands. Money is temporary, but what you build with it can last forever. Double entry bookkeeping? Every corporation uses it. Correspondent banking? That's how wire transfers work. Holding company structures? That's how modern conglomerates operate. Bills of exchange? Those became credit cards and digital payments. The Medici Bank failed, but the Medici systems conquered the world. And the Renaissance itself, that explosion of art and science that ended the Middle Ages, it doesn't happen without Medici money. Michelangelo's David, Leonardo's Last Supper, all Medici funded or influenced. The family that started as wool traders eventually produced to popes and to queens of France. They lost the bank but won immortality. 3 takeaways. First, economic power creates political power, not the other way around. Cosimo never held office but controlled Florence completely. Second, legacy outlasts fortune. The Medici Bank failed, but the Renaissance they funded defines Western culture 6 centuries later. Third, systems beat treasures. The real Medici fortune wasn't gold, it was their banking innovation still running the global economy today. The warning: we're watching this pattern repeat in real time. A handful of billionaires are accumulating more wealth than most nations. And they're doing exactly what the Medici did, turning money into cultural power, building legacy. The question is, will their systems survive when their fortunes collapse? Because eventually they always do. The Medici proved that money can buy immortality if you spend it right. But they also proved that financial empires can crumble faster than anyone expects. So ask yourself, in 600 years, what will survive from our era? The fortunes or the systems? Because the Medici answered that question. Their bank failed, their fortune vanished. But every time you use double entry accounting or wire money internationally, you're living in the world they created. They lost everything, and yet they won. Thanks for watching Coins and Kings. The Medici story isn't just history, it's a blueprint for power still being followed today. Please like this video and subscribe for more epic tales. This channel will uncover how hidden kings built the systems that rule your world, because understanding these patterns means you'll never look at wealth the same way again.